I'm here for Seconds Out with top trainer Dave Coldwell, looking to pick his brains on all things boxing. But first of all, Friday night, you've got your attentions on that night. You've got your new talent out as well too on that night. Talking about him and what you want to see from him, what you want to get out of him on this latest fight.
First of all, I'm excited to be working with Dan Howard. I think he's a great talent, great prospect, but also a really good human being. He's fit into the gym so well. The lads in the gym love him. He's just one of us straight away. In terms of talent, obviously it comes from unbelievable stock. You know, the Berkeley Boys Club is one of the best, if not the best amateur club in the country. Outstanding amateur achievements. So, you know, he's had a good grounding. It's just all about development and time now, and just, you know, development, adjusting to the pro game, understanding, you know, things that you can get away with over 3 rounds, you can't get away with, you know, when you're fighting these guys that are hunting you down for 8, 9, 10 rounds, and then you get into championship rounds. So it's developing his style, but keeping his character, his personality, and he's getting it. So I just want a little progression on what we've been doing in the gym, is what he's been doing in sparring. He feels as though he can see the changes in him. Just a little bit more settled, a little bit more pro-styled. And I don't expect a lot. I just want him to express himself, but not to try too hard to impress. Because he's live on Channel 5. All right. So when you're live, when you're a young prospect, especially if you're changing coaches and all that sort of stuff, you feel like you need to impress. It's not a sprint, you know. It's a long distance game. If you go out there and try and impress straight off, then you'll tighten up, you'll do things that you shouldn't be doing, and you won't impress. But if he goes out there and just lets it flow, people are gonna love him, because he's a great talent. He really is, and he always wants to knock you out. He's understanding that you have to be cute as well in this game.
It's quite interesting, because I was going to say to you with my next question, and I'll put it to you. I kind of feel like there's a lot of people, as always there is yearly, people turning over, people in that prospect pack. Do you feel like you have to kind of maybe say to them, look, maybe got to do a little bit more to separate yourself from that pack and really kind of... He
separates himself anyway, because his style, his charisma and his style is different. You know, he's a showman. He's somebody, personality-wise, in that ring, what I grew up with in the Ingle gym. You know, he's very, very quiet and he's human outside the ring, and he's quite sensible and everything. Getting in the ring and he's like, whoa. But I like that. So he is different to the other prospects that are out there.
The Northeast region as well brings its pressures too.
Yeah, I think so. There's a lot of, you know, a lot of history. There's a lot of, and the thing is with the Northeast fans is that they get behind you. So obviously you want them to get behind you, but then you may feel the pressure of that. But I don't think Dan does. He don't seem to feel any pressure. He is him. That's it. And I think people love him because of that, really, to be honest. So I think I want people to support him. Tune in Channel 5 Friday night, 10 o'clock, and you're going to see a kid that who's going to be fun to be watching develop. You know, you're going to watch him develop over the next few years, and there's going to be a lot of good nights to be had. And you know, he's not just a bog standard prospect. He's a little bit out of the box.
Looking forward to seeing him come out of that box on Friday night at the Telford International Centre, a stone's throw away from myself. Dave broadened up the wider boxing sphere, talking about some of the hot topics in the sphere. I've just seen Anthony Joshua comments on Sky Sports, and Anthony Joshua has said that when it comes to a Wilder fight, he's not closed the book on it. He's open to it. He said that Wilder hasn't led his side of the bargain in getting the win over Parker, but he's not closed on that fight, although some people might be closed on that fight. I wonder where you stand after seeing Parker dismantle Wilder the way he did. Do you still have that interest in that fight?
Obviously, it takes some of the shine off. But if that fight was to be made tomorrow, or let's say AJ wins, and then just turn around and say, right, okay, done the Wilder fight next because Usyk and Fury have got a rematch clause. We'll do the Wilder fight. Am I going to be excited to watch that fight? Yeah. Would I watch the fight? Yeah. Would I have been more excited if I hadn't seen the Parker fight and seen what happened? Yeah. but it's still got that intrigue in it. It's still got that excitement in it because the rivalry's gone on for so long. So it's a bit like, not quite, but it's a little bit like when Pacquiao and Mayweather fought. It had been going on for that long, 5 years, when they were at the peak, and then when you started seeing them slipping, and you thought, not quite as good, but we'll still watch it anyway. It's like that. But Wilder, I mean, to be fair, Wilder looked done in that last fight. He looked completely done. He has to show something, like, to do a complete reversal for it to be where you go into that fight and you're as excited. Because if he's just going straight into a fight with AJ, you're going on back of that. It's like, okay, but you still want to see it.
When Fergie left United, you'll see where I'm going in a second. When Fergie left United, there was that fear factor dissipated from going to Old Trafford for teams, and they were able to get at. So what you're saying is that the same's going to happen when. Let me get. I'm not a Liverpool fan. I'm a Watford fan. There's no fear factor when anyone comes safe to Vicarage Road.
Elton John still there?
Elton John is still, yes, the honorary chairman, yes. But back to the question. Teams came to United and they were able to play. There was no fear that they were going to get beat because Fergie had gone, that shadow. Fergie had gone, and after years, United is just not the same as it was once before. Has the fear factor gone from Wilder now, and how much of that is a problem for Wilder, given the potency of his right hand? If fighters don't have that fear of that right hand, is he more get-attable?
I always feel as though when you have an invincible sort of danger in front of you, Wilder's knocking everybody out, and you're thinking, well, he's easy to be outboxed, but he's never getting outboxed except when he loses, because he always finds that shot. There's always that fear in there. At any moment in time, he can switch your lights out. But then when you see a performance like that, where he couldn't or wouldn't pull the trigger, you think, has he completely gone? Can he not throw anything? Is he what is it? So yes, the fear factor does go, especially when Joseph Parker's improving as a fighter, and he is becoming a very, very good fighter under Andy Lee. You can see the improvements there, but because it's Joseph Parker that did that job, and he was seen as a big underdog going into the fight, then it kind of like diminishes Wilder even more. It diminishes that fear factor even more, because you think, well, if Joseph Parker can beat him, I can beat him. It's not like, Usyk beat him or Fury beat him. It's like they're still elite. So maybe that goes towards it as well. But Joseph Parker now isn't the same Joseph Parker that was fighting a couple of years ago. He's improving. I saw it in the Chisora fight. I saw the improvements in him in the Chisora fight, in the second Chisora fight. So you could see what they were doing with him, and it's just each fight that he's having with Andy Lee is getting better and better. I fancy Joseph Parker to beat Zhilei. I don't know if who's the underdog, who's the favourite, but for me, I think Parker wins that fight, because I do think that he's improving. But people look at the fact that it's Joseph Parker that did that job on Wilder, and then again further diminish Wilder. He's still dangerous. If he hits you with that right hand, he's still dangerous. So you still have to have that red alert danger on you.
Talk about Parker Zhang in a second, but I just wanted to keep on the theme of Anthony Joshua. He's taken on Francis Ngannou. I know that I've asked you about this before, and a lot of people have, so I'll try and keep this question fresh, and I don't think I've asked you this before. Tyson Fury had real problems with the long jab, the long arms of Francis Ngannou, and for me, I would count Anthony Joshua as maybe a less agile, less flexible, less reactive fighter than Tyson Fury was. So how does he overcome those long arms, which caused Tyson a raft of problems?
So this is why I see it as a proper legitimate banana skin. Because if you look at pedigree, you look at what AJ's done in his career, you look at the wins that he's had, who he's beaten, and you look at the 10 rounds experience of Ngannou, you think, well, AJ's going to beat him. And he should beat him. He should be too well schooled for him. Especially now that Lee Wiley and Ben Davison have had 10 rounds of boxing to study him and break him down. Before that, Fury didn't have that. Fury had a few rounds on the pads with Mike Tyson, and that's it. And so there's the element of surprise there. Now that's gone, AJ should be able to outclass him and to outthink him and outbox him. But what you've just said there, for me, is the big key in the fights, in the matter. It's the length of Ngannou's arms. So we know that Ngannou from the Fury fight wasn't afraid to punch in between Fury's punches. if he's got that same mentality in this fight, where he's not afraid to punch in between, he could cash AJ. But also, AJ's got to do his. If AJ's looking to knock him out and put on a performance and not just win on points, because I think he could perhaps just win on points. But if he's wanting to go out there and do a bit of a statement, then he's got to hold his feet that little bit longer in range to let his combination. Because I don't think he's going to do him with one shot. Maybe as the fight wears down and the accumulation of AJ's punches then take effect after a few rounds, then he catches him one big shot. Yeah, that's a one-punch knockout. But I think he's got to put some damage on him, empty some tank on him in order to get to that stage. But then that leaves him, he's got to get in, get out without getting caught on the way back out again. That's why I think Fury was afraid or not as confident letting his hands go. Because Fury's always dominating with a reach, and he couldn't dominate with a reach, and because on the way back out he was worried about getting caught because Ngannou could reach him. I expect Ngannou to be better now with his feet, and his feet were good, but I think his feet should be better, a little bit quicker, closing distances, maybe countering. So it makes it for an interesting fight, and that's why I can't wait for it. I'm really excited about the fight, and forget about whether it should happen or whatever like that. The fight's happening. It's a good fight. It's got jeopardy in it, and it'll be interesting to see how AJ handles the size. It's more the reach for me, because I don't think he has to get caught clean in order to register. I think Ngannou seems to have that sort of power that if he just scuffs you on top of the head, your legs are going to do a little bit of a silly dance, and then what happens then? You know. Also, Ngannou's done the 10 rounds now, so maybe when he's hurt Fury before, he hasn't really gone for it because he's not sure about, well, if I don't get rid of him, then and I gas out, I've never done 10 rounds before. Now he's done 10 rounds. Maybe he's willing to roll that dice a little bit more, willing to let his hands go a little bit more if he sniffs a bit of blood. So it's exciting.
Rewind a couple of minutes ago, you said that you'd be picking Parker to beat Zhang, is that correct?
Yeah.
Not a popular pick. People tend to say, I think Parker can win, but I believe Zhang will win. How close an affair is it, do you think, between the two?
I still think it's close. Don't get me wrong, I still think it's a close fight. It's a very, very good fight. Zhang's actually, his hands are quicker than what you think they are. But I still think Parker jabbing to the belly. And his boxing IQ is so much greater now. And he's settled, he's punching hard, he seems to be punching through the target a little bit more. I think he hits hard enough to take enough steam and energy out of Zhang to remind Zhang that he's 40 whatever years old. And I think that's the difference. I don't think Parker's just going to head on all day. I think he's going to look at emptying that gas tank and still use his feet and be smart and, not look to get caught with stupid shots and be very, very clever early doors until the tank starts wearing down. The reactions are a little bit slower. The punches are that little bit slower, and then Parker can, perhaps start letting go of his combinations. But Parker's not a bad body puncher, you got to remember, and that'll have an effect on Zhilei Zhang as well.
Of these three fights, which stands to give you the most interest? Chris Eubank Jr. versus Canelo, Chris Eubank Jr. versus Brook, or Chris Eubank Jr., get my words mixed up here, against Alimkhanuly?
I don't want to see Brook. I don't think he deserves to go anywhere near Canelo. So the last one.
Interesting, because I think a lot of boxing fans would say what you said, that Chris Eubank Jr. maybe doesn't deserve the Canelo fight, but they're trying to push and pitch for that fight. Does it not? I would say it's at least a bit interesting if the two were to meet, but maybe not deserving of that opportunity, I guess.
What, Canelo against what? Why is that interesting?
The two sort of mix of styles, personalities.
So, in terms of Canelo's career, do you think that just damages his career even more to be fighting Chris Eubank Jr. instead of Benavidez, Jaime Munguia? I'm not even going to say Berlanga, but
I agree with you on Benavidez. I agree with you on Munguia, but maybe not Berlanga yet.
That's what I'm saying. Berlanga and Junior probably same sort of level. That's what I'm saying. But Jaime Munguia and Benavidez, you're swerving Benavidez to go to Eubank Jr. How does that work? I don't. No. And Eubank Jr., what have you done to warrant that shot? apart from having the name, what have you done to warrant that shot against Canelo? Nah, different.
Here's another left field suggestion for you. Canelo Alvarez versus Conor McGregor. They're both at the same weight. I remember.
Turn into a Misfits channel.
No, but I just, I'm not. No, maybe it is a bit of the influence, but I just think that might be a good crossover fight where, not completely crossover because McGregor has had that boxing flavor, I guess, against Floyd Mayweather, but talking about big fights and needing big fights, the likes of Canelo Crawford, some people call for, isn't going to happen. Benavidez seems further than it is before. Munguia is.
No, you can't mention Canelo Crawford, Canelo Benavidez, and then talk to me about Canelo Conor McGregor. That's like, no.
I think it's possible that the fight might happen, is what I'm suggesting.
Are you actually hearing that?
No, I'm not hearing it. But I think if it's not been explored, maybe it should be explored for the future. Do you have interest in it?
You just said maybe it should be explored. That means that you think it should be explored.
I think so, yeah. I think there'll be a lot of interest in that fight.
But when was the last time Conor McGregor fought?
Oh, it's been a long time for the UFC. Broke his leg.
When was the last time he fought?
I think it's 2-3 years now. But
so okay, when was the last time he boxed?
What was that? 2015 was it?
What year are we in now?
2024.
So he's not boxed for 9 years, and in the last 2 years he's not had an MMA fight.
No, that's right. Yeah.
And you think he should be talked
No.
about? No, you think it
Could and should. Yeah.
be talked about that he fights Canelo Alvarez.
I think that is a possible mega fight to be made, and I think there would be interest from a lot of people to make that fight.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it's deserving or anything like that, but
so the only interest is like, MMA fans wanting to see MMA fighter beat. It's like, okay, at least. So we know that. Listen, Conor McGregor. I love Conor McGregor. I'm a massive fan of Conor McGregor in his MMA career, right? But he's already. So if Ngannou had fought Tyson Fury and got absolutely just toyed with, mullered, right, and played with, right, then would you then say, oh, right, let's skip 9 years, right, fast forward 9 years, and then you can come back and fight, say, Usyk's the man at the time, right? No, because he had one boxing foray was shy. The only reason why the Ngannou AJ fight is actually an intriguing fight is because of the performance that he had against Tyson Fury. Conor McGregor against Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather, 143 years old, didn't really do much in it, but still put him in his box. And he's not. That was 9 years ago. He can't go in against Canelo. Pound for pound now, like top 3, 4 now. Not even fought for 2 years. If he was to come back and have an MMA fight, smash the shit out of some top fighter, I don't know any other fighters, but smash the shit out of one of them, look shit out again, and then said, I want to go into boxing. And then I get what you're saying, and oh, there's that intrigue there, right?
Then there'd be interest.
I get what you're saying then. I can see why people would say, oh yeah, let's see him fight against Canelo. But he's not fucking had a boxing fight for 9 years. He's not had an MMA fight for 2 years. He's out partying, doing his forged Irish stout stuff. And he's going to go in against fight, and it should be talked about in fight Canelo. No. Sorry. No. Not having it.
We could continue this debate at a later stage, Dave, but I think we've got to end the interview for now. But good debating with you. We're still standing on the opposite ends of the spectrum. Thank you so much for speaking to Seconds Out, sir.
I want to see
the comments
below if I'm wrong on Canelo fighting McGregor, or if you're right.
Maybe we'll put a poll up. Dave, pleasure's all mine. Thanks for Seconds Out.